There's a very, very common mistake that a lot of young men are making when it comes to messaging girls because it's being sort of created by the whole self-improvement space, of like, oh, messaging girls and getting girls and stuff. And I've kind of been a victim of this myself, like, a few years ago when I was first getting on self-improvement, first trying to, learn the craft sort of attracting women. And it was like, it's a bit cringe to talk about it in fairness, because it's like, why does that even need to be like a subject? Like, self-improvement, how to sort of text girls, but it does need to be addressed because there's a very common mistake that a lot of young men are kind of making. And the thing is, I don't want to make this a really big deal because I don't ever want you boys to think like, oh, I have to do this and I have to do that and like overwhelm you with information, because that's kind of my point, is that the self-improvement space has overwhelmed you with information on what to do when it comes to how to text a girl to keep her attracted to you or something. And the whole point is that a lot of YouTubers preach that you have to be mysterious, all right? Which to some degree, I do agree with. I agree you have to be mysterious. You have to kind of leave her wondering. You have to keep her excited. I understand that, and that's the whole point of it. But you're going about it in the complete wrong way, okay? Because a lot of young men will get a text from a girl. They'll be like, "Oh my god, I've got a text, right?" And then they're like, "Oh, I've got to make sure what I say back is like perfect, you know." And they're sat there like for like 10 minutes, almost crafting a message. Do you know what I mean? And like I've done that myself. Like you literally sat there and you're thinking, right, she said that, so what am I going to say now? Like, I could say this, I could say that. And the thing is, it just gets so built up in your mind that like texting a girl almost becomes like a chore. And you're just sat there like trying to almost analyze the text message, and then and you're like writing everything. You know what I mean? You might as well get a pen and paper out and start writing your message down. That you sat there fucking half swiping for about half an hour trying to think, I'm trying to wonder what the fuck like you're gonna write. So, and we can't, it's fair, we can't even do that because most girls have got that fucking like Snapchat Premium or some shit where they can literally see when you're half swiping. So we can't even do that no more. But it's very kind of backwards in that sense, because you've got to be mysterious. You've got to be someone who you can think about, someone exciting. But the point is, you've got to be someone who is exciting and mysterious. You can't pretend to be someone who's exciting and mysterious, because then that's just not authentic. And I'm not saying you guys aren't exciting or mysterious guys. I'm not saying that, but you need to. What I want you to do is, instead of like sitting there trying to craft a message that you've, and because like every single message that you send is going to just look weird to her. She's going to be like, oh well, why is every single message like almost kind of perfect? And it's like he's sending like a really witty kind of jokey sentence every single time, and it's like it just doesn't look authentic and it doesn't look normal. You almost like start sounding like AI because you're just crafting these fucking text messages, trying to use fancy words and shit. And it just doesn't look and seem authentic. And when you don't look or seem authentic, that's unattractive, because it just shows that you're not confident with your authentic self, with you. You're not confident to be yourself around her, even over text message, okay? She will notice these things. They always notice these things, okay? So make sure that you're just messaging her however you want, okay? Again, don't be one of those guys that sat there like, right, I'm gonna wait another like 5 minutes before I text her. I'm gonna wait another, like, bro, just text her whenever you want. Text her whenever you can. Okay. If you've seen the message and you've got like straight away and you've got your phone, just message her back. It doesn't matter if it's only been 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes. It doesn't matter. Just message her whenever you want, okay? Because then it's authentic to you and it's not gonna seem like you're purposely trying to not message her after a few hours or whatever. Because if you're one of those guys that just doesn't message her after like an hour every single time, number one, it's going to get a little bit boring because she knows exactly when you're going to message her. And number two, it's just like, it's obvious that you're just ignoring her, you know? It's very obvious because everyone, like, let's be honest, bro, everyone's on their phones all the time, especially girls. You know when a girl's ignoring you because she's always on her phone. As soon as you message a girl, she's seen the message. She's just choosing to ignore you if she doesn't reply after like 15 minutes, okay? But you need to be someone who, again, he's on his mission, he's on his purpose, he's doing things, he's got shit to do, so he can't message a girl straight away. So don't be one of those guys that sat there like, yeah, right, I'm gonna wait 5 minutes and I'm gonna say this. Alright, just bro, message her however you want to message her. If you want to message her with a one-word answer, do that. Okay? If you want to, practice being witty and confident and a little bit charismatic straight away, quick. Make sure it's quick. Okay? Don't be one of those guys who's like trying, like, all right, now what can I say to this? Like, just say what the first thing, almost like the first thing that comes to your head subconsciously, okay? Because that's how you're going to practice actually being witty and being charismatic and being a little bit charming and being playful over text, okay? If you're someone who's not very good at that, then, this is where you need to practice, okay? There are like, if you're someone who's not in a relationship and you're just texting a load of girls, there's loads and loads of girls, bro. So it doesn't really matter if you fuck it up with this one, because there's always another one, all right? There's always going to be another one to text and to practice with, okay? I'm not saying like use girls. I'm just saying, yeah, if you're in a situation with a girl and you're texting her or whatever, just, for your own self-development, practice with it, okay? And just, make sure that you're actually, when I say analyze, I just mean think about maybe what went wrong if it does go wrong. If this girl kind of ghosted you or something, think, right, well, my text a little bit dry. Was I texting her back too quick all the time? Was my text all the same? There's always things you can do, and that's why I don't ever want you boys. So when you listen to a video that's telling you, to be mysterious and be exciting over text, don't start like overthinking it and start thinking, right, how am I going to make that text mysterious? Because that's when you just come across inauthentic to yourself, and that's where you become unattractive. Okay, you want to make sure it's always authentic to yourself. So when these guys say send mysterious texts or make her seem like you're an exciting person, you have to actually be that person in order for that to come across that way, if that makes sense. Okay, you can't just pretend to be mysterious and something, because it's just not going to come across that way. You need to make sure that you actually are someone who's mysterious, who's got shit going on, and you just go out and live life, and you go out and do things, and you experience the world, and you learn things. That's how you become a witty and charismatic individual, and it shows over your text. Okay, then when you're texting a girl and you can come back with these fast, quick, witty responses, okay, that are actually quite exciting, a little bit playful, that's going to be authentic to you, and it's going to be more attractive as a result. Okay, sometimes you don't have to make every single text playful, because again, it's boring. Mix it up a little bit. You need to be someone who knows kind of what message to send at the right times, what kind of messages to send. Read the room a little bit. Just send whatever you want at that time. If you're having a playful conversation and every single text that you feel is right to send a playful text, then do that. There's nothing wrong with that, so long as it's authentic, and so long as it's not something that you're like, you're not sat there like, right, that was quite a playful message, I'm going to send another playful message back. All right, don't do that. Message her back however you want to message her back, okay? Because naturally over time you'll just get good at this. You'll start clocking onto these signs and clocking onto these almost like signals and whatever. You'll understand women a little bit more. So when you start understanding women, you can start texting them back in, accordingly that way, okay? Your mind will be a little bit more broadened. You'll just be naturally a more witty, charismatic individual. Because you understand women, you now know how to talk to them, therefore you know how to talk to them over text, okay? Sometimes you might have a serious conversation with a girl, so you're not going to throw in playfulness all the time there, are you? You need to make sure you've got all sides to you, okay? Like I said before, take her on all sides, all ends of the... Oh, fuck me, I can't fucking speak. Take her through the whole spectrum, all right? When it comes to emotions, all right? Be someone who's a little bit unpredictable. So if you're always someone who's being like trying to be funny or something, that does get boring eventually. You want to make sure you've got that serious side to you, that mysterious side to you, that funny side to you. Okay? Almost the pissed off, angry side to you. All different, just be you, okay? Don't ever be scared of expressing an emotion from yourself to a girl, okay? Because like I've said, it's all about authenticity. So if you can be authentic, it just shows you're confident to be yourself, all right? And that is very attractive, okay? And that's also why I preach, to improve yourselves as much as possible, to broaden your minds, to learn things, to go out there and experience the world, so you've got more knowledge and you've got more things to talk about, and you just are a more developed person. Then you can then show these sides to you and be confident in this version of you, and just gonna be so much more attracted to you, all right? You can have all the game in the world, but like where people get this wrong is that game, Riz, you know what I mean? That isn't necessarily just what you speak, it's everything to do with you, okay? It's your looks, it's your mannerisms, it's your body language, your physique, everything, all right? So make sure you've got it all on point. Like I've said, be a well-rounded individual, because all this shows when you're not only with a girl in person, but when you're on text with her, okay? So keep that in mind, okay? Another thing is that when you're texting a girl, okay, the most likely thing is that she's going to look you up on Instagram. And if your Instagram's a little bit like, it doesn't really have anything on it, you don't have a profile picture, you've not got any pictures of you doing anything, she's going to be like, well, this guy doesn't really get up to much. He's not really a social guy, okay? It's kind of that thing of like natural selection. A girl wants a man who's kind of, a social person, who's kind of got a good reputation. Other girls like him, okay? Because she kind of knows if other girls like you, then you're kind of it's almost like you're kind of a safe option, okay? She knows she can trust being with you, okay? Because other girls want you as well. It's one of them things. And also that kind of competition side to her. So make sure you've got nice, make sure you've got good pictures on your Instagram. Make sure you level it up. Get a profile picture, go out, take some pictures, go just wherever you go in life, okay? Wherever you go in your day-to-day life. If you go into exciting places, this is why you need to be doing exciting things, being an exciting and mysterious person, going out and going to different places, doing different things, and then taking pictures while you're there. You can then put them on social media, and she can see what you're up to. She can see, oh, well, today he was here, and then, you know, then he's there, and like, you know, almost, you know, again, exciting. You're doing different shit. You're unpredictable. Okay, she's gonna check that, bro. Like, trust me. If you're texting a girl, she'll check your Instagram. If it's a bit dry and a bit boring, then it's just not gonna. It's not gonna put you, you know, as high as those people who do have, you know, a good Instagram. Okay, it's not essential. I'm not saying like you can't attract a girl without a good Instagram. Like you can't, like she's not gonna just look at your Instagram and see that it's got nothing on it and then be like, right, I hate him now. I don't like him. It's not gonna be that. It's just gonna give you more of a chance. Okay, you wanna, like I said, you wanna give yourself the best chance possible. So that's why you need to be optimizing all these areas when it comes to dating. Okay. But just to summarize, make sure you're being yourself. Okay, be authentic. Say what you want. Say it when you want. Okay, and just practice being a little bit witty and being charismatic and being funny and flirty, okay? And that's how you're going to start getting better at this game, okay? Text game. That's how you're going to just improve yourself as a person. I'm not telling you to say specific things. I'm not telling you to be a specific person. I'm telling you to improve yourself, okay? Be a guy who is mysterious. Be a guy who is exciting, and it will just naturally show when you're texting a girl, okay? So practice it. Say exactly what you want. Be authentic to yourself. That is what's most attractive to a girl, okay? And again, you know, don't be someone who's kind of like constantly, you know, if you're constantly texting her all the time, you're just giving your attention out, and you're not even with her, and you're giving your attention out over text, okay? Again, that is literally like, that is what males have to offer. That is our currency, is attention. So if we're giving it out too much, okay, it's not valuable. You need to keep your attention valuable over text. Everything that can be applied in the real world can be applied over text, okay? It's literally the same thing. It's still an interaction. So you want to make sure you're applying those same principles over to text, okay? And that, again, all comes down to you becoming someone who is good at this, becoming a good, well-rounded individual, and it all showing in these areas, okay? Like text, like in person, all right? Be authentic. It's attractive, okay? Stand up for yourself, you know? Stick by your word, everything. Be a fucking man. Don't be a little boy who's like, no, got to try and make sure this is a good text. Like, no, it's cringe. Don't do that. You'll get so much further with girls when you start practicing this and you start being able to be witty and flirty and, you know, being able to do it quick, okay? Because if you can do it quick over text, you can also do it you can't do that in real life, can you? In real life, you can't just be talking to a girl and then she says something, you can't just sit there going, right, hold on, let me just think about what to say. Like, you can't do that. You've got to be quick. You've got to be able to do it quick. Think quick, okay? That's why you've got to go out and learn things, go out and live life, go out and do things. So you naturally broaden your mind and your subconscious can just come up with this shit quickly, all right? Because if you can do it over text, and you can practice doing it well over text, and you can do it in real life, okay? And that's equally as important, all right, boys? If you want all the detailed, right, a little bit more, you know, some more kind of exclusive lessons when it comes to dating, like gym, confidence, all this other stuff, you can join my free Telegram. I'll put the link below, okay? It's completely free. You can join that. It's not been very active recently because we don't have many members in it at the minute, but as soon as we start getting some people in it, I'm going to be active on it. I'm going to be putting things on there every single day, you know, daily lessons for you boys that you're not going to find here on YouTube, okay? If you've got like more of a personal question, you've got a personal issue that you want any help with, drop me a DM. My Instagram will also be in the link below. You know, I'm happy to help anyone. And yeah, boys, appreciate you joining me today, and I'll see you in a bit.